All right, peace family. We are live. This is our Jurist class, an update to the level one Jurist course distribution information. We do have new signups. If you are an old student and you got this link, that's fine. It's just for you to tune in and sharpen yourself, or not tune in and wait until we talk next. The next time I will talk to the people who have completed the Jurist 1 law course is on Wednesday evening. We will have a think tank, and those emails will be sent out to you. All right. We do have some updates, and we have a project that we want to encounter as a group that will help the group um, with the services that we are all administering, and with having a group dissertation that you can all participate in that I'm organizing so that we can have another textbook manual guide. And we're going to talk about that on Wednesday night. For the new students, you will be able to watch this video, of course, live as you're watching it. And you will be also able to watch the playback on the ARNA YouTube page, or also save it to Google Drive to send it to all of the people on the email list. And make sure everybody get it. All right, so we're going to start our conversation off with what is the goal that we have set for jurists? What types of services will you be rendering to the people? And the type of services that we're talking about are all the services listed on the website. So the goal of the Honor Jurist class is to get you acclimated to indigenous governance, to get you to understand what nationality really is when it comes to the continental United States of America, and to see yourself through your own autonomous self-identification and what that looks like in functionality as a group and for your families and as individuals who are now saying we are indigenous Americans. What does that mean for your life? What does that mean for your business life? What does that mean for the contracts that you're engaging? What types of contracts you're already engaging? How you need to re-engage those contracts? What types of things will happen in your economy? How is your economy affected by making that decision? And then how are you going to carry out these services for other brothers and sisters who want to come into the tribe? All right, so we are going to share some pages here to highlight those services. All right, let's go to the main website. We're going to go to our Jurist contacts link. Has a jurist by region. You will be added. All right. And then these are the services. So these are the things that we actually do. All right. So we do nationality service. We're going to change the amount that goes to headquarters so that the jurists who currently have already passed can have a larger share of their portion, and they'll only be required to send in the dues when the new national registers. Business registration services, you'll be able to register businesses for all types of people, 7 different types of businesses, 8 now. And you'll be able to carry out that service as often as possible once you complete this course. Business credit and personal credit remedy. The only thing that still sticks out on this is the ability to remove stuff off of your credit report based on it being over the statute of limitations. We've upgraded the business credit aspects so that you can build a company that can get capital. You will have to have a Square, PayPal, Stripe type of operation going on. That's going to help, and it's going to help with you accessing ability to get business capital. Tax exemption services for home and sales tax. We want to show you the updated processes for 501(d) registration, which you would use for carrying out putting your house under your indigenous business and getting the annual tax exemption that's afforded on your county level with the determination letter from the 501D process. We also will demonstrate and show you the processes and procedures to help folk who want to set up tax exempt businesses and access state tax exemption or one purchase form exemptions. You'll also be doing ID services if you go level 2. And then document update services that you will be doing. Like say somebody nationalized and they changed their name again. They need their documents updated. You'll be able to carry out that service. Genealogy services are for people who sign up for the genealogy course or for a level 3 jurist. Level 2 and level 3 jurist, you get that course free. Let's see what we have here. 501D, we talked about marriage certificates, authenticated documents for nationals, doing power of attorney, drafting. Chapter 7, discharge student loans. This one is going to change. How we do student loans is not this way anymore. So I'll make sure they update the website. But we have another way to attack these student loans. We talked about the statute of limitations. Doing motions and affidavits for people, music contracts. We have templates for that now. With the marriage contracts, we also have basically a prenup in the marriage so that you can do these services for nationals and non-nationals. I think that is important to add on to our feature, and we have the documents to do that now. Also, we want to just a slight recommendation. You can do non-disclosure agreements with your partner so that you don't have problems with your family business being get put out somewhere in case a problem occurs. So those NDAs and prenups and marriage documents for nationals and non-nationals, some of those will be updates. Lawsuit drafting, we will go over this. And now since we passed the new bill, we can teach the copyright, trademark, and patent service to all of you and to the people who have never learned that process, who might be level 2 or level 3 jurists. All right. So those are the services that you're going to learn. This is your textbook. Let's go to it. And if you haven't received your textbook, you will receive the textbook. So it's a matter of mail reaching you. All right. And it goes over all of the basics of what we talk about in this course. All right. We just sent out instructions for completing homework assignments to everybody who needed to be updated. For those of you who are completing or have completed dissertations, those particular classes on instructions that I sent out give you a template for structuring your homework. It's an excellent way. So if you're using Google Classroom, Google Forms, whatever method that you're using to deliver, once you have completed your dissertation, that will give you, the necessary information as far as structure that you need to do that. All right. For those of you who are new, that gives you a beeline into completing your homework assignments. You just received that. And you can use the prior videos that you downloaded when you made the purchase. Also the ebooks until you get your physical books, if you don't have them. And also this video can help you. All right. So let's go into our information. Essentially, the basis of the entire Jurist course and the jurisprudence of it is to study international law and to study domestic law as it applies to Aboriginals. But Aboriginals who fall under a certain classification, we do not fall under the Bureau of Indian Affairs. And we elected not to do that with the Aboriginal Republic North America and Shiamaru tribal government. We do have an entity that will interface with the Bureau of Indian Affairs in the future. And that is just a strategic purpose. But we wanted to keep our autonomy. And our autonomy is based on our history. Our history is based on the fact that we are the first Americans. And by being the first Americans and having lost through denationalization and genocide our identity, we have a right to go through these 3 steps: reparations, reclamation, and restitution. Reparations and reclamation are on us. We have to do that ourselves. It's self-administered. And so this course is about making a group of people who are part of an institution or an Aboriginal law firm that is contracted to the Shiamaru tribal government to carry out these particular services, to bring people into ARNA and to work with the greater public through waivers of liability to contract them with them if they're athlete, if they're a musician, if they're family, they get married, power of attorneys, drafting documents, lawsuits. So we can do this in and outside of ARNA, but specifically inside of ARNA, we're dealing with the fact that we are Indigenous Americans, we have a nationality, and we need to have the ability to protect it through a legal institution and through having jurists. What is a jurist? One who is versed or skilled in the law, one who is skilled in the civil law or the law of nations. All right. And so we have to deal with jurisdiction. ARNA is its own jurisdiction. Understanding that allows for you to gradually get into this course, learn the principles that we're laying down, then get into the next phase, which is learning to deliver the services, which will be amplified now because we have updated documents and we have a project that we're going to do for people who have already graduated to bring you a textbook that you receive when you get to phase 2 with all of your documents with instructions for each document for every service that we carry out. All right. So jurisdiction, jurist meaning law, diction meaning to communicate. Jurisdiction simply means to communicate law, the power to adjudicate. Communication determines what law applies to any living being or person. These communications can be in agreed upon form, usually occurring through written or stated orally. All right. So you have personal jurisdiction and subject matter jurisdiction that you're going to look through. Then we have our 7 concepts of Aboriginal law, natural law, and contracts. Start out with those and you master pretty much everything else. Because the commerce, local, state, international, interplanetary. People will laugh at me now, but trips to the moon and Mars being on the plate, there will be interplanetary contracts for how we perform in these particular areas, what is done in those areas. You might not think it has anything to do with you right now, but you'll see how important that is for the future. All right. Natural law is the law that sustains any single living being or groups of living beings' ability to self-create and self-preserve. Contracts are agreements made between parties with mutual consent on both or all parties. These agreements can be made through any agreed upon means of communication and are usually authenticated with some type of seal. Witnesses are almost always necessary to establish the lawfulness of contracts. Commerce, motion, to move, traffic, the movement of an orb around a celestial body, to move goods and commodities in exchange for items of value, the exchange of goods and services. Then we start dealing with the local, state, and international jurisdictions. United States is the District of Columbia and its territories, federal enclaves, and insular possessions. The United States is the District of Columbia. That must be understood geographically. Its federal enclaves and insular possessions are how they gain jurisdiction over the states through bond contracts. United States of America are the 50th Republic. 37 of these came after the District of Columbia. From 1868 onward, these republics all incorporated into juridical persons, also known as artificial persons, and are now 14th Amendment citizen subjects of the United States. The states themselves are 14th Amendment citizens. So we have what the United States is, where it has jurisdiction at, mirrored in the commercial codes as well. And they gain cession of particular states. All right. How do the states cede themselves to the United States? They do it through bonds. And that's okay. We're not here to be the ones talking about, oh, the United States is a corporation, as if that means something. Good. They're doing business. We need to be in business too. All right. And so these are some definitions that you have to look up. This is the first man to talk about nationality. It wasn't Noble Drew Ali, it wasn't Garvey, it was Edward Wilmot Blyden. And although he was pushing the African theme, he understood the concept of nationality, and that's why we cite him. He was not aware of the indigenous heritage of our people, even if he interacted with some of them, Paul Coffey and other people. This is what has happened to us. Denationalization, the political act of an agency and its agents or political body and its officers of forcibly removing another from their political status in violation of their natural or human rights. And you have these types of rights: natural rights, political rights, personal rights, and civil rights. Nationality means to belong to a nation or body politic, affording one of the protection guarantees security, natural, and political rights retained by the group. And so you have to understand all of these. Natural rights are what you're born with. Political rights come from the jurisdiction that you're interfacing with. Personal rights are rights that are guaranteed, like the rights in the Bill of Rights, that are also political and personal. And civil rights are no rights at all. There's something offered to people who do not know their nationality. We have the 14th Amendment. We are not 14th Amendment citizens. Our citizenship comes by way of the Snyder Act as Aboriginals, and it is caveated by the fact that our tribal property and rights must be protected in order for that citizenship to be valid. Yes, we are United States nationals and citizens according to the Snyder Act, not according to the 14th Amendment. 14th Amendments are subjects. They are persons, as in artificial persons. They do not have any guarantees of protection of their indigenous property or rights. They are second-class citizens who had the word free removed from the clauses that were amended from Article 1, Section 2, Clause 3 of the Constitution. They're responsible for the public debt. All right. And so this is the part that I wanted to focus on today. You hear a lot of talk about UCC, you hear a lot of talk about status, you hear a lot of talk about Moors, nationality, indigenous, American Indians, all this other stuff. What I'm here to tell you is that we are here in a jurisdiction to do business. We are here to do that business in all types of elaborate forms and with great strategy. But as new jurists, your primary responsibility will be and is for you to learn the basics of this information. The emails I sent out about the homework structure, the download of the homework links and classes that you already have, and this class can be used to complete those assignments and understand the concepts. But here you have at Dun & Bradstreet a company search, and the House of Representatives of the United States comes up as a company. And it says also traded as the Office of Law Revision Counsel. There was just passed a $1.2 trillion bill. The congressmen said it themselves on record, which I have. They only had 24 hours to read it. Wait, y'all didn't write it? No, of course you didn't. It's the Office of Law Revision that wrote the bill, because the bill is you. It was really a bill, like a bill sent to your house, electronically or in the mail. And the bill is for you to pay for a service. So all these services that are a part of that package, who pays for them? $1.2 trillion has to come out of your wallet. You, the citizen. And how are you traded? You are traded through securitization. And debt is a number one gross domestic product of the United States of America. They're not worried about the national deficit increasing. As long as you are participatory in the way that you are, ignorant of contract, ignorant of your nationality. And so the federal government is doing business. You need to do business too. You can quietly do business without making a lot of noise, screaming at people, calling people names. You don't have to do that. Department of Interior. Indian entities recognized and eligible to receive services from the United States Bureau of Indian Affairs. That's what recognition means in that light. So people like to use that, but these people have to be under the Bureau of Indian Affairs as 501c3s, amend their constitutions to the favorable desire of the BIA, and compromise all of their indigenous autonomy. We recognize too, just not for services. We recognize as a separate political entity of Aboriginals. And that's the position that we want to be in. That's the safe position to be in. That's the position you are securing as a jurist for people coming into your nation. And you're going to do this through the performance of contracts. You might be an ID producer. You might be doing their certificates of nationality, giving them guidance on the name changes and corrections, everything. All right. And you're doing it under the guise of international law. Let me scroll down a little bit. That's where I want to go. Contract law. Article 3, Section 202 of the Uniform Commercial Code, which is passed in all of the states. But I want you to get an idea of how contract law is adversely impacting you because you don't assert your rights, because you don't know your rights, or you don't know your legal remedies. So when I talk about the 10 real defenses in the other videos, you need to understand those 10 real defenses and how they play in with this negotiation that is subject to rescission. This is the commerce laws in all the states. Quote, negotiation is even effective if obtained one from an infant. A baby is contracting. It's contracting through its mother who has power of attorney. And now the baby becomes human capital for the state. The programming is not. Why do you think the state will take you to court for not sending your children to school? Because the schooling is a part of the bond operation to make the perfect slave who's going to participate in the tax circuit and all of the other contracts that create jurisdiction, but it also keeps the engine going. So you're negotiating with an infant and it's effective. It didn't say it was lawful or legal. It said it was effective. A corporation exceeding its powers. All these corporations are exceeding their powers, but they're allowed to because they have your consent. And you fight them back through a body politic, not as individual sovereign citizen people with trusts and other documents saying, yeah, this is how we're going to get busy. You're not getting busy unless you get busy as a group or a person without capacity. What gives a person capacity is contract and permission, acquiescence sometimes, or the inability to put a check on someone, because rights are also responsibilities, but you have to enforce rights. And enforcing rights comes from the body politic by fraud, duress, or mistake. So fraud, duress, and mistake still make negotiations effective. It's happening all the time around you. In breach of duty as part of an illegal transaction. And it tells you later that the remedy for these things are subject to rescission according to other laws. You just have to know what those laws are. We do. A part of it is this is commercial codes. You got to go back to the organic law and understand you have to have a nationality. And there's only two nationalities on this land. Either you're with the United States and the United States of America, or you're with a tribal government. That's it. There are no other ones. None of your belief has any place in law. None of your philosophies or ideologies have any place in law. Because law is set by body politics. And if our indigenous body politics set law, we're here to enforce it. If the United States of America has a tradition of Judeo-Christianity and the laws that they are operating emerge from that, that's a self-administered reparative act for them to implement the type of government that they see fit. Our check on them is our indigenous status. Go read that Snyder Act again. All right. So we do engage in contracts. And we can engage in contracts without compromising our indigenous nationality. You having a social security number as an efficient means to interact commercially does not compromise your indigenous American status and nationality. It means you understand the contract properly now and you're in your proper capacity. So we can contract. We can still have deeds to houses and all kinds of other things, but we're doing it a little bit different. All right. So this is about learning the basics of contract. I'll save this class. I'm going to go to my next class now. You can use this video. The main video you would use is the main video that's a part of the download when you purchase your course, and also the instructional emails that detail and go over the basics of the homework. All right. All right. So we're going to sign off for today and say that Wednesday, we're going to have our discussion with our think tank, and that's going to help us with orchestrating the services a little bit better with the updates that we mentioned at the beginning of this video. All right, I'm in the stream and save it and send it to everybody. It will be on Arna YouTube page, and we'll Google Drive it to the people who are in class. Use the other video to finish your homework assignment number 1. And you have another video that was sent to you also that details the instructions for the homework. All right, we're going to sign off.